It's 2025, and if you're looking at buying your first metal detector or upgrading to a better one, you need to watch this video. Metal detecting is one of the few hobbies that'll actually pay for itself. You can offer your services to go out and find items for people like a lost ring or watch or a cell phone, or you can find historical items, coins, relics and things like that and sell them for a profit and pay for your metal detectors that you found. Metal detecting is a great hobby. You can go out and enjoy it with friends. It's rewarding if you do the research for certain areas and then you go out and metal detect and find the item. It kind of brings the whole story together. It can be very rewarding as well. And it's relaxing. That's one of my favorite things to do is just get out there and swing a coil. Very relaxing. I can get into the moment and just forget about everything around me, especially if I've got headphones on. So I got a number of metal detectors here behind me. I apologize for the sign. I'm in my showroom at work, but I got metal detectors that range in price from $150 all the way up to over $2,000. When it comes to picking a metal detector, there are three major things that you need to consider before you pick a metal detector. This might be your first metal detector. You might have a metal detector already and you want to upgrade because the one you bought you weren't happy with because it's not performing, on the site that you're using it on as well as you'd like. So those three things, and we'll cover them in detail, are time, amount of time that you've got to spend, your budget that you've got to work with, and where you're going to be metal detecting. So let's start with time first. If you're a person that has a lot going on in your life, you've got a family, you're going to school, you've got work, and you've got other obligations that don't allow you to get out, you maybe get out once a week, or a couple times a month, then you're going to want to choose a different metal detector than someone that's like retired, that's got all the time in the world. So if you don't have a lot of time, you're probably going to want to buy one of these metal detectors that are easier to use, but perform well and are not as complicated to set up. Some of these metal detectors have very few menus. There's not a lot to set up. You don't have to relearn the machine every time you go out. However, if you're a retired person and you've got all the time in the world and you like to play around with different settings and different menus and different options that are on the metal detectors, one of these more expensive machines might do you better. And we'll bring this all together when we talk about all three of the different factors that you need to consider when you're choosing a metal detector. But let's move on to number two. So number two is your budget. I always tell people to spend the most that they can comfortably afford for a metal detector, and there's a number of reasons why I say that. So first off, if you buy a machine that's inexpensive but is not suited for your site, you're not going to be happy. If you underbuy, you're not going to be happy. Just don't go out and buy the first metal detector you see on Amazon. Do a little research. Now, the other thing that you've got to consider in your purchase price is accessories that you might need. There are things like pinpointers, headphones, because not all metal detectors come with headphones, accessory coils, and then you've got digging tools. I mean, it could be as simple as a screwdriver, but you're probably going to want something more like a hand trowel or a small shovel or even a sand scoop, depending on where you metal detect. And then the last thing you need to consider is the sites that you're going to hunt. Maybe you live in the city and parks are the main access that you've got, or schools or private houses and things like that. Maybe you live near an ocean, so ocean beaches or diving might be the thing that interests you the most. And then there's the desert. If you live in the desert, there's the opportunity to go search ghost towns or gold nugget hunting. And then finally, there's relic hunting. Let's say you live near a battlefield or a historic site. that you want to go metal detect and find relics. So all those things you need to take into consideration when you're choosing a metal detector, because not all of these metal detectors behind me are suited for all types of hunting. And maybe you want to do all of those things. And there are metal detectors like the Minelab Manticore and the XP Deus 2 and the Nokta Legend, which I don't have here, that can do all of those things. So now that we've talked about each of those things, let's try to narrow it down to a metal detector that you would pick. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these metal detectors individually. You're going to have to do some research on your end if you're a beginner, or if you're getting into the hobby, you've got your first metal detector and you want to upgrade, you're going to have to do some research on your own. I would suggest one of the best things to do is join a club or get on a Facebook group where you can ask questions. Now, the thing about a club is you can actually go out to some of these sites, because some of these sites might require a certain type of metal detector. You have things like, you know, if you're going to the ocean, there's salt, but not only is there salt, there could be high mineralization. Same goes for metal detecting at ghost towns, gold nugget hunting, and relic hunting. There might be a site that has low mineral ground, but more than likely, a lot of these sites are going to have high mineral ground. So you're going to need a metal detector that can handle those things. So let's kind of start with park hunting. If parks is the thing that you want to hunt, and you only want to go out and you want to, you know, hunt tot lots, or, you know, just go through the grass and find modern change, there are a number of low-end detectors that you can get for under $500 that will do you just fine. Now, the other thing about research is that there may be multiple models within the name of a detector, and I'll give you an example here in a minute, that have different features on them. So just for example, the Minelab Vanquish has 3 models in it, the 340, 440, and 540. They're all capable of hunting parks. Some of those models have more features than others. And so that's where you need to get the user manual out. You need to watch YouTube videos and see what those differences are. Even on the Minelab site, you can see they have like a checklist where you can see the different things that are available on each of these different models. Another example is the Score series by Nokta. So there's a score, a double score, and a triple score. All of them have different features and different hunt modes and things like that you would need to research. So for a park though, if you're just simply going to go out and you're looking for modern change, you know, fresh drops, things like that, you don't necessarily need a metal detector that's going to get real deep. You could get away with this bounty hunter here. If you wanted something nicer, the Garrett Apex might be something for you. Gets a little bit deeper, has a few more functions than some of the Vanquish models do. But if you're a park hunter that you live around some old parks, some old homes or schools, and you want to get ultra deep, and you then need to be selective about your digging, because you're going to be digging deeper holes. You want to be sure of the item that you're detecting at depths of 7-8 inches. Then you might want to go with a more expensive machine like the Manticore or the Deus 2, which are, in my opinion, 2 of the deepest VLFs available on the market right now. They're within, you know, probably an inch of each other in almost any scenario you can put them in. But they do cost a lot more money. You're talking about $1,200 for this. If you can't get the Manticore on sale, you're upwards of $1,600. And then if you are a beach hunter or are interested in going to the beach and metal detecting, you're going to need to get a metal detector that's multi-frequency. The bounty hunter here is single frequency, but the Vanquish is multi-frequency. Now the Vanquish works fine on most saltwater beaches, but it doesn't have a ground balance function. So if you've got a mineralized beach, you might run into trouble with that. And then the other thing you got to consider when you're beach hunting is whether or not you're going to need a waterproof. Are you going to be wading? Are you going to be, you know, hunting under the water, diving or whatever? If you're wading, there's the chance that a big wave could come up, knock you over, knock your metal detector over, and ruin it if it's not waterproof. So the Apex will work fine on the beach because it's got a multi-salt function, but you might be better off moving to the triple score or the Vortex, because those are waterproof, because they both work on the beach and they have multi-salt or multi-frequency salt functions that allow them to work on the beach, and they also have ground balance capability. So if you get on a high mineral beach, you can use those things. Now, if you wanted to do relic hunting, then some of the features that I'm talking about may not be as important, because a lot of those people dig it all. I personally cherry pick sites because I don't want to dig everything. I'll go on sites that have not only been used for the specific battle or a camping place for the soldiers, but later on they've been used for hunting. So there's rifle shells, shotgun shells, 22 bullets, 22 lead, rifle lead, all this other stuff that I want to be able to pick out from the good stuff. Now, it's not always possible, but with a good target ID system and a stable ID on some of these other detectors, like the XB-2 and the Minelab Manicore, you can oftentimes cherry pick the good items from the bad with those machines. But the other thing you got to remember about relic hunting is the soil conditions might not be optimal. So there are many places that have got red clay or high concentrations of magnetite. Some of the metal detectors might struggle with. So in those scenarios, maybe some of you have heard of Digging in Virginia. It's an event that happens back in Virginia. It's concentrated around mostly winter camping sites, but it does include some battlefields and whatnot. But the dirt back there is what they consider really hot. So you might have to move to a pulse induction machine like the Garrett Axiom, which starts at about $2,000, and you can get models that have different accessories all the way up to $4,000. So then let's talk about gold nugget hunting. So gold nugget hunting, there are gold specific machines that are out there that are in the $500 to $700 range. You've got the Garrett Goldmaster 24K, you've got the Fisher Gold Bug 2, and you've got the Minelab Gold Monster. Nokta makes one too, I'm not sure what it's called. And then there's also machines that are available that have gold functions within them. So these are all-purpose machines that I'm going to talk about now. You can use them for anything that I've been talking about, but they are more expensive. The Nokta Legend, which starts at about $600, has a gold prospecting function on it. The XB-2 also, models there start at about, I believe, $800 and go up to, you can pay as much as $1,300 if you get all the accessories with them. And then you've got the Minelab Manicore, which also has a gold prospecting mode on it. And that goes up to, you can get them on sale for about $1,200, but normally they're about $1,700 from what I hear the new price increases are going to be. And then obviously, whenever you're picking these machines, you've got to look at accessory coils, what they come with, what you might need for gold prospecting. And then another thing is, and it's a good idea to talk to someone who's in the area you want to gold prospect or join a club, is the fact that they might be highly mineralized ground, and these VLF machines might not get as deep as you'd like, and then you're going to have to move to a pulse induction machine. There's machines like the Garrett Axiom, the GPX 6000, the GPZ 7000, and then there's some older models like the GPX 4500 and 5000, which you can buy, but they range in price starting from just over $2,000 all the way up to $8,000. So if you're gonna go gold nugget hunting, you're gonna probably need to spend some more money than just a machine that you might want to take out in the park. So to kind of bring this all together, you need to decide, what kind of time you got to spend, where you're going to hunt, and your budget. And then remember these other things that I talked about. You need to look at what these machines come with when you buy them. Do they come with headphones? Do they come with more than one coil? If they don't, then you need to consider those things. You can buy packages that have pinpointers, but in general, a pinpointer doesn't come with a metal detector. Some of these pinpointers you can spend as much as the metal detector. For instance, the Bounty Hunter Tracker Pro, $150. Well, you can easily spend that much on a pinpointer. So headphones are the same way. You can get a cheap plug-in pair for maybe $30, but if you want something a little nicer that's wireless and specifically for that model of metal detector, you're going to be spending around $100. So you can easily, on the low end, double or triple the amount that you're going to spend on a metal detector, and you need to take all that into consideration when you're buying a metal detector. So my advice is, if you're interested in metal detecting, or you're a beginner and you already have one and you want to upgrade, do the research on the internet. Grab the user manuals from the manufacturers and go through them to see if they've got all the accessories and things that you want, or functions that you want. Join Facebook groups, look at YouTube, and watch videos on the specific model that you're interested in. Listen to how it sounds. A lot of people will point out flaws with these machines or pluses with these machines over other machines. You need to look at that. Probably the best thing to do is join a club. And now, if you join a club, there's a lot of members. In my club, there's a lot of members that are maybe in your same situation, which you're just beginning and don't know. But there are very seasoned metal detectorists in those clubs that can give you a lot of advice, and will maybe even let you use one of their machines and try it out before you buy it. So gone are the days where you could go to a dealer. My dad was a dealer in the 70s and 80s, had multiple lines of metal detectors. He had a coin garden out in his yard. People would come over, test the metal detector, have it in their hand. Gone are those days. Everything's done over the internet for the most part. There are a few dealers around in the country still, but they're so spread out that they're not going to be able to help everyone. So do these other things. Join clubs, do your research on the internet, and then make a purchase decision based on where you're going to be using the metal detector, and make sure you get the accessories and the functions that you need so that you can enjoy the hobby, so you won't get frustrated, and it will become something that you really enjoy. So I hope this information helps you, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.